Yes. Soon enough, you will forget.
Thank you again for joining us, everyone. Again, I am Sylvanov, aka David Legan, the Dark Druid, and I will be your host and storyteller for the evening. And before we get started, it's my pleasure to have our cast members for the evening introduce themselves, if you would, please.
Hi, I'm Natalie Chapman, and I go by Nestor on the internet, and I'm playing Sarah Strong.
Evening, everyone. My name is Michael Walsh. Find me online on the interwebs as FedTruth1399, and I'll be playing Carlisle J. Milliner.
Hello. I'm Shassidy. You can find me on the internet as the Risa Rave everywhere. Tonight I will be playing Blanka Rosa.
And we join our cast this evening in two separate locales. Sarah Strong and CJ Milliner at his office, going over some paperwork that had been drawn up earlier this week. Something to do with someone named Ruth and some others, squaring away business for Sara, making sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And Miss Blanka Rosa at the Chantry of the Prince William Domain. An interesting building when viewed from space actually looks like a pentagram. It is, for lack of a better term, a palatial place. Aside from the DC Chantry and maybe the one in Miami and the one in New York, is probably the largest library on the Eastern Seaboard. The person in charge, as it were, is DrkDruid Crowley, a Tremere of note, looking to ascend past the Chantry into another upper echelon within the pyramid, or at least what's left of the pyramid. He thinks he can rebuild it, or is at least making an attempt to. Blanka had recently sent out her feelers trying to get information about what the hell's happened. Was there a theft from the Chantry in her own presence? Witnessing a strange event and an occurrence about the same time as everyone else did in the domain. Something happened. It was dark, drastic, and caused a lot of grief for a lot of people. Ruth has been quite busy late, making phone calls, checking emails, fishing out lines, and tracing occurrences or whispers and rumors, to which she's met up with someone in the library. One of the guys who's there in and out, she knows him as Bobby. He doesn't give any other name, and none's ever been used elseways. But he is one of the persons who takes care of the library proper. I think Blanka's question was, what was that book and what happened to it?
Yes.
More specifically, Bobby is, of course, very busy. He is literally taking notes out of every book. He's going one to the next, flipping pages and looking to see if anything else had occurred. And he's been doing it for the past week, almost non-stop, like a robot. So yeah, he's busy.
Right. Well, with that bit of knowledge, I think Blanka would check check her phone and see if she's gotten any information. If she's gotten any information just from out in the universe, so to speak. If anything has come back as, maybe things have been stolen from other chantries, or if other Tremere have been experiencing strange things taken from them, maybe their own personal stores. So that would be the first note of business that she would be taking care of.
There was a person of note that the Tremere have been keeping tabs on, local shop owner, I guess you could call it, for lack of a better term, a holistic healing shop where they sell crystals and strange books. They sell incense and crystals and rocks of all kinds, and they have little workshops for tarot readers and what have you. It's a little bit of a new age shop with a maybe a hint of Indian feel. There's some Tibetan sculptures, there's some Buddhas around, there's the brass bowls, and apparently the night of that occurrence, she left, disappeared, did not leave note, trace, pack, or anything. She was most notably an interest to the Tremere because she had an ability to see vampires for who they were at a glance.
Okay. And do we have a name of said woman?
Aubrey.
In her disappearance, did it look as if damage at all was done to said shop?
As far as you know, you were sent some pictures. It doesn't look like anything's been disturbed. The next day, the standard day people took over work in the shop. It wasn't abnormal for the boss to go on trips, but abnormal to just up and disappear.
Okay. And so the shop itself, despite her absence, is still currently running?
Correct.
Okay. I shall stick a pin in that. And then we'll likely head to her higher up to discuss that information, and just an update on the library itself, and to see if there's anything that he might need.
So again, I assume that you're interrupting Bobby then.
Oh goodness, would I interrupt Bobby? Yes. So she'll go to Bobby, and take a moment to see exactly what he's looking at and taking notes on.
He is going from one book to the next, and he is rapidly flipping through pages and clearly looking to see if pages are missing, added, or otherwise been tampered with in some way. And he will flip through a book, put it right back, make a note, pull out another one, flips through it, makes a note, puts it back, and he is literally book to book to book to book.
Okay. And the book in which this event that I witnessed occur, that's still sitting on the kind of pedestal. No, it is not. That's been taken and looked at.
It is no longer in visible sight. You've probably looked for it in the library. It is nowhere in the library. Not even behind the nice little pretty warded books behind a nice iron grate. It's not among those either.
She'll walk up to him and, good evening, Bobby. How's it going?
Without looking up from what he's doing, Miss Rosa, time is money. You need something.
Information, as always, whether giving or receiving.
And in particular, you want to know, and he flips and puts it away, grabs another book, makes a note.
The book, the one that page was stolen from.
The Incantus Akari.
Cantus Akari. Okay. Yes. Any clue onto what specifically was taken from it? Ritual.
We are unsure. It is not entirely translated.
Fascinating.
You were here
All right.
that evening, yes? You saw it happen?
I was.
What did you see?
I did. At first, everything went dark. It was not frightening, but it was disturbing to say the least. And suddenly, a hand, seemingly not attached to anything, but it came out of shadow. Specifically, went after that book, knew exactly what page to turn to, picked up the page, ripped it out, and vanished in, I would say, fire, but it was cold.
And he finishes flipping through the book, makes a note, puts it back, grabs another one. A hand, you say. Can you describe it?
Shadow.
He stops flipping pages and actually turns to look at you. You mean it cast a shadow?
No. Was shadow.
Was shadow. So
Yes,
not
the
a
entire
hand,
library
in
filled-
fact.
I'd say it was a hand, considering what it could do.
Many things can do things that hands can do, and yet are not hands. Miss Rosa, surely you know this.
I take a moment to remember who I'm speaking to and not allow my rage to get the best of me. I'm telling you exactly what I saw.
Yes,
Whether
well, be
a literal hand
concise
or
then.
of shadow, whether a literal hand or simply shadow, it was in the form of hand, completely black, snatched the page and vanished in smoke, or in fire that was cold.
Cold fire. Was it
I know very
colored?
little. Black.
Interesting. Did you see anything else of note?
I saw that the majority of the Tremere ran. No one stayed.
You haven't been here long. When things happen, some people have learned that it's better to save one's own ass than to bother with curiosity. This place is not, quiet. The domain, I mean, at large.
I've come to see that.
He turns back, finishes flipping through the book, makes a note, puts it back, and grabs another one.
You would think a place that holds so much power would be far more protected, and yet it's not.
You think the building is vulnerable?
Clearly. Something was able to come right into our walls, with no one knowing, snatch a page, and leave, with no consequence.
He kirks a smile that says, if he could neon blink the word child above his head, it's what his grin says. Like your youth and enthusiasm humors him. Miss Rosa,
Blanka makes a note.
there are many things which you are not aware, though I'm sure with time and your curiosity you will either learn or die. Preferably you do the former, and that is live, of course. Be careful what corners you sweep.
Fair enough.
The
With
Akori
that,
incantations are old. There are others you have been seen cavorting with. that might find its presence here distasteful. Be careful whom you share information with, Miss Rosa.
Duly noted. You have a good evening, Bobby. And I
Unfortunately, I shan't, as he puts another book away, grabs another one, and begins flipping through it, making notes.
She will leave and immediately exit. With that, we'll shoot a text message to Carlisle and say, we need to talk. And we'll proceed to leave the chantry.
Excellent. Back over on the other side of Manassas. Mr. Milliner, the evening is early. I assume you've sent Virginia on her way. And Miss Strong is there to finish marking some pages for you.
Paperwork's all drawn up, but of course, she likes to cross her T's and dot her lowercase J's. Everything would be inside a manila envelope as before, and of course, I would offer her her own desk at the rear of my office, a spotlight, magnifier. If she felt inclined to do so, she could go into the penny refrigerator, help herself. She would notice it is kind of low in stock, so he definitely has to restock. He's been extremely busy over the past couple of days, not only handling her paperwork, but a couple of other individuals. He would receive a text from Blanka and text back, currently at my office. Whatever suits you best, I'm here to please.
Blanka's response will be there in 20.
I assume, cousin, you're going to make sure to go over that with a fine-tooth comb, and I did everything as per your specifications. However, I still am not fond of that individual's insistency that you and I are made of money.
Made of money? Yes.
Yes.
Don't worry. He'll be very easily abused of that notion.
Well, hopefully in time she'll understand that favor is worth a hell of a lot more in our society than anything on paper.
I'm just sure she needs to make rent at some haven.
Probably. How are things reconciling since Javier's party?
I've gotten the kind business up and running, but I do need to work out a blood drive.
We can definitely assist. I can contact Jude to get in touch and figure out something from the hospital's end, obviously. Anything that you need to get up to your previous stock, please don't hesitate to reach out.
I appreciate that, but I think I have a location that might assist with that blood drive. One that maybe I can organize and ensure that the books are kept correctly.
A location, you say? Anything specific?
There's a soup kitchen I tend to volunteer at with Father Jeffrey. He might be willing to host a blood drive out of the soup kitchen or near the soup kitchen.
I didn't take you as the religious type.
When you come from the old country, you are, regardless of whether you want to be or not.
I should have known better. Anything else you currently have that's troubling you that I can assist with, cousin?
No, I think with this contract that you've drawn up with Ruth, we're going to be able to complete the task revolving around the communications and anonymity that we need. When you're dealing with auditors, you need to ensure that there are ways to hide what you don't want them to find.
I would make sure to check out the clause I put in that if the information found is not up to your standards, that you do have a right to terminate said contract at any time, just to make sure to cover your own
I fully
bases.
expected that clause. Thank you.
However, I can only go off of Miss Rosa's recommendation, and I trust in her judgment. Speaking of which, it would be good to inform you that at the very least on her front of the Tremere handlings, we have come to an accord. So we do have their support going forward.
I don't know much about the Tremere. I've tried to keep a wide berth for obvious reasons. Their interest can be very one-sided when you're dealing with them as not kindred.
Believe it or not, going off of history, they're really not that much different from us. The only difference is they've gotten their hands dirty in a completely different set of politics. They are known as usurpers for a specific reason. But in order to be able to plant our feet and stake our claim here, we do need allies. And I see them, specifically Miss Rosa, as a key pinpoint to us maintaining ground here. So I can tell you from personal discussions with her and our time at your establishment, her actions should definitely speak leaps and bounds.
Yes, it does, and I would not have healed her if I didn't feel that she deserved it.
Yes. So hopefully going forward, this alliance will bear good fruit for our cause. And in the upcoming weeks, I'm hoping to increase that circle of ours to be able to have a couple of allies to be able to fall back on in case things end up going south.
This is Prince William. It always goes south.
I am definitely not looking forward to it, but I do not want to be ambushed again like what happened to us in Elysium. I will never allow that public display to embarrass us again.
Unfortunately, at that time, I did not have enough of a leg to stand on to help defend. Now it's different.
You don't have anything to apologize for, cousin. At that time, a bunch of us are taken off guard. We had a bunch of other issues to deal with, including Mel, which obviously has compounded up to this point, and I'm hoping very soon we'll be able to resolve that, which Miss Rosa has agreed to help out with that situation also. So hopefully herself and Jacqueline will be able to talk things out to the point that she will see reason and come around on her own, because I don't want to see our numbers dwindle based off of fledgling antics.
I don't either, but that is one of the reasons why I contracted with Ruth. Ruth and Mel seemed to get along when last Rico and Mel had their little tete-a-tete. So I'm trying to encourage that with keeping a little bit of a rein as we need to.
Having a contingency plan is definitely a good idea.
Happily to give her more rope, just controlled rope.
I too am trying to keep her on a short leash, and hopefully with the projects I present to her under my employment, at least physically, it will keep her occupied.
That should be interesting. I look forward to seeing her find her place.
Well, she has two talents that I've seen have shined out. Her research on the internet and her ability to destroy everything around her. And I intend to exploit both of them, even if I have to point the destructive end at our enemies in kind. And she has happily accepted a contract under my employment. So hopefully I'll be able to put her in a place where she can be utilized.
Sounds like you've got everything well in hand, CJ.
I don't know about that, but we all have our talents, and hopefully going together on this, we'll be able to solve a couple of problems at the same time. We are expecting Miss Rosa to show up anytime. Just to give you a heads up, she texted me a couple of minutes ago.
Ah, well, that's fine. We had a long chat not too long ago. I'm sure she won't mind my being here.
I don't think so.
Oh, so what's your driver's name?
This is perfectly fine.
I'm sorry?
What's your driver's name? The Nosferatu?
Jorge. Jorge Rodriguez.
Sorry, I wasn't meaning to interrupt there, Sara. Go ahead.
I was just signing the contract.
Roger that. So, Jorge picks you up just outside the chantry and shuttles you back over into town. Along the drive, he happens to actually come out of his little silent driver type, otherwise
Yes.
quiet self. Hey, Blanka,
See?
you know this Caralupo, yeah? She's our boss.
Mm-hmm.
She's interested in some of your new friends.
In what way?
I don't know yet, but there's some rumors. She's been watching people more than usual.
Mm.
You should be careful with her.
Does
Some
she
in the
do things
Warren.
for her? Does she do things for her own desires, or does she?
Don't we all?
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. My concern is it to do with the ivory tower, or is it something personal for her?
Now, see, now this is a good question because there's been rumors. They're not sure where her loyalties lie. Even the demon's been walking around asking questions.
Then we definitely need to keep an eye on her.
Is everybody
Thank you for
interested
telling
in your
me.
friend Sara? Why is that? What makes her different?
I've got a little idea, but not enough to say exactly what they want from her. But the ivory tower is not the only one interested.
No? Who else interested?
Take a wild guess.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know what her interest is, but she's been paying a lot of attention to your new friends.
You'd say she's personally vested in the sense of going out herself? Or is she asking for a few favors?
Oh, Kara hasn't no need to ask for favors. She's called some in.
Any for me to be concerned about other than watching?
And he turns onto a street. I don't know. But we'll keep our ears
That we
open.
should find out. Yes. Always keep our ears open. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah, and hey, the demon, he's been checking out that other guy from Puerto Rico, or where the hell he from? Javier, that Grillo guy.
Watching him closely too?
Seems people got interest in him now. You know anything about that?
I don't blame them. He's curious. I don't know how, but he's...
You met him?
Yes, I met him. He's... I don't want to say dangerous, but he's dangerous.
See? Hey, look. The address is... he's in one of these... Oh, he's in an office, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we're here. Hey, just keep your eyes open. Yeah, you too.
Always do. With that, I lean over and I kiss his knuckles and I leave the car and head into the office.
He drives around looking for a parking space. It's not hard to find one. He just likes them where there's more shadows and less street lights.
Yes. When I walk in, you guys see that Blanka is, customary heels with that metallic click. She's wearing a black gown with a deep V cut and is backless. Lots of jewels, lots of rings. You notice that her hand is healed, so she's no longer covering it. And she has a very, deep in thought and almost... she's navigating as if simply because she knows the space, but not because she's actively looking where she's going as she steps into the office.
Come in, you would see the lobby is empty, but the lights are on, and off to the right, Carlisle's door is open. Through the entrance of the door, you would see the desk that Sara's at, and then when you step in, Carlisle's sitting behind his.
Well, good evening. Sara, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too, Blanka.
Evening.
We have much to discuss.
Mentioning evening,
especially
can
when
I
it
get
comes
everyone
to you.
to make their rouse check for the evening? Seems like a
Lord.
great
Okay.
time to start our rouse checks.
Ooh,
If you are blushed of life, please make an additional rouse check.
I am not blushed of life. So Blanka is at 3 hunger, the stress, it's just...
And Miss
a lot.
Rosa, do you need to make an additional 3 rolls for your last aggravated damage?
Okay. And that was what, my health and
Unspent health.
hunger. Unspent health. Okay.
I'm sorry, you're rolling your hunger dice. So you're doing simple rouse checks. So it's you need to make the 3 rouse checks, and
Right.
either pass or fail determines if you gain hungrier as you heal that aggravated damage.
Right. Okay. So
If it was superficial, you'd only roll one time, and you either got hungry or you didn't. Because it's aggravated, you get 3 rouse checks.
Okay. Okay, so the first rouse check is a pass.
Okay.
The second is also a pass.
Okay.
And then the very last is also a pass. Yay!
Hey, congratulations. You avoid hunger 4.
Yes.
Only hunger 4.
So now, you should have, if you only had the 3 ag, I think that's all you had, right? Was the 3 ag, no superficials on top of that? Okay, so
Right.
you are definitely fully healed at this point.
Delightful. Okay.
And she doesn't look ravenous walking through. Maybe a bit peckish, but not ravenous.
Yes.
I'm a bit
See, your
peckish.
arm has healed.
I'm sorry?
Glad to see your arm has healed.
Oh, yes, it was. Well, it took a moment, but we've gotten there.
She's ready for racquetball.
Or baseball. That's what we played at home. So I've got something very important, several things, but mainly, Sara, I know very little of you, of your ability, but you are being watched, and not just by the Tremere.
Who else could it be?
That Nosferatu that Carlisle told me about is also watching. In fact, she seems to be watching all of you.
Yes, Kyla is always watching.
Not a
The problem
surprise.
is no one can tell if it's her own personal desires or if it's from the ivory tower.
Yes. Clan is always first.
She's called in a few favors. I don't know yet what that looks like, but I would be heavily on guard if I were you.
Kyla and I have a little different relationship that you may not be aware of.
Oh,
PJ is already aware. Kyla was
see.
my domator for a little while.
oh. Well. All right. We will talk about that more in a moment.
That's changed, my dear.
Yes, I
We all have a
imagine
history.
so. Yes, we do. The man, gosh, what was his name? Javier Grillo,
Yes.
also
Cousin.
being watched.
With his new
Stands out
state-
like a nightlight.
And not necessarily by her.
Yes, that state is a little dangerous.
Yes.
I know he couldn't stay hidden for long with that affliction.
No. Killing everything within a 30-foot radius of him definitely
Yeah.
stands out.
Yes, I even had to replace a few chairs.
If you need help with anything, with replacing anything, please don't hesitate to ask.
He has a carpenter on speed dial.
I have made many investments over my years, which net me out with a tiny little profit.
To mention, Javier sent a team of contractors to the 3 monkeys.
That's also fair.
And my cousin has repaid some of what he.
Some.
So, just to clarify, ST, you said a demon? Is that what Jorge said to me?
Yes.
But
Yeah. Just say that to Sara. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, Sara, does demon sound familiar to you?
Oh yes, there is one.
Ha.
He's a rather interesting fellow.
Oh, that's
He
the
came
one
for
that's
dinner
watching.
at the Three Monkeys. Joe makes a very lovely meal for him.
Oh. Okay. He's the one watching Grillo.
Not surprised.
Hmm. Speaking of meals, are you parched?
I am.
He would head over to his refrigerator, take out one of his corked bottles, but this one was specific for her, and he would hand it over.
You see for a moment her hand hesitates, and not because of like distaste or anything like that, but the realization that like Sarah's in the room. But then she just decides, fuck it, and she
It's like that.
she makes a mess.
You want that to
Well,
be
she
canon?
She didn't know that there
And
was
she
things in there.
just gobbles it down.
You know
Wanton.
what though? She does.
She said that she was hungry, okay?
She does.
Not a fucking liar.
One thing that she is not. Honestly, guys, I didn't know there was anything
We'll
in
make
there.
that
I
a
thought it
video
was just a
clip
cup.
with no audio so that the viewing audience can make up their own minds what just happened.
That's fucking awesome.
So she does it. Makes a mess and doesn't bother to clean herself. So there's just residue. And then she looks over at at Carlisle and says, I tried speaking to them about the situation at the Chantry. They, because of my kindred age, didn't take me very seriously. Chantry, I believe, is not in a good place. But I was warned away from you lot.
Well, to be fair, I warned you when you first stepped into this office. So, if you want to go off of that. However, it doesn't surprise me that people are going to A, warn you of us, or B, question you because of your age, because that's plan wide. It doesn't matter who you come from. Age is always going to try to trump a youth, even somebody 500 years old over somebody who's 100 years old, because obviously they don't know better because the other one has been around longer. So, with that being said, I would just keep an open eye out, obviously. Look out for your own interests, cover your own ass, and if anything does pop up of it, you know who you can contact who will take you seriously.
That is why I'm here. It seemed to me that the Tremere I spoke to, he seemed to know more than he was willing to tell. This, of course, I expect from kindred in general. But the idea when I suggested that there needed to be better protections, specifically around such important books, artifacts, the things that, Tremere hold dear, that was when he patronized me. But he seemed to feel, because of the book, because of the text, the link to you and yours, I would simply be careful that, because it clearly this event was felt throughout the city in various ways, I would be careful that this does not fall on you and yours.
We seem to be the ring at the bottom of the toilet when it comes to most shit that rolls into Manassas. However, I have a question,
Only
Javier.
lately, Kevin. Only lately.
Yeah, definitely as of late, I have questioned Javier to a certain extent. He has told me he is on top of attempting to avail his affliction, and I did tell him that until he does so, he should make himself scarce in all public avenues, and especially handling any kinds of business. We are also reaching out to our higher ups to question how this situation can be handled. And as I stated to you, I am going to get to the bottom of this to figure out what's going on with the item that got stolen specifically from you. With that being said, the next time you question somebody in your house regarding this, try to get as much information off that page as possible, because the more I have, the more I can reciprocate back on to you eventually.
It's the problem, isn't it, with Kindred? They never want to tell the whole truth.
Yeah, that's a very many group, very many populace.
Yes.
Venn diagram of Kindred not wanting to reveal everything.
It's understandable.
Is, I share the same sentiments as my cousin here. I don't know too much about your plan as far as info structure and things of the inner dealings. I only know rumor and innuendo of what I've been taught as a child. So it's basically the outer ends, if that.
It's hard to say. Chaos is the best way to describe it. The inner workings is chaos. Especially with people, Kindred, who are so hell-bent on keeping things as they were. There's no growth.
Hopefully we'll be able to change that with our discussion. And when I do eventually get the chance to speak to Mr. Miller, like I said, I am going to put you forth as our envoy. So if he needs to get into communication with us, it will keep you in the loop, and hopefully it'll have you put a foothold in to the areas that you need to eventually get into.
I appreciate that.
Blanka, have you shared the name of the book?
Oh, no, I have not.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
But I do want to. I do want to share the name. So I'm assuming, because this is illegal, there's like notepads and stuff kind of around. Right. I'm going to actually grab a pen, and on the notepad I will write the Incantus Akari on it, and I will, flip it around and show it to them and say, stolen from this, somehow connected to you.
Either of you
Do
could
with that what you
roll
will.
an intelligence and occult, or an intelligence in academics, if you have specialties in the realms of research or within Giovanni lore, Ricardo lore. Those things would also be helpful.
As they do that, I want to actually shoot a text to Jorge and tell him, and ask him if he sees any extra eyes out tonight. Is anyone, peering in at this meeting?
Sure. He messages you back with the on eyeballs, googly eyes emoji.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Basically indicating he's looking around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So strangely, Sara, this is a name that strikes a bell You've been around a while, working with the family a long time. A Corey or a Kari is a well-known necromancer of Giovanni history. So yeah, you may not know much about the person, but you've heard the name mentioned, especially within notable necromancers.
Jude.
I'm sorry?
I heard the name, and I remembered that Jude, you had mentioned Akare before, when we were in Jude's haven.
Yes, the wraiths.
Yes, there was another word with Akari that you mentioned.
Oh goodness. Player does not remember this name. It starts with an N, but I can't remember. I want to say it was like Nanim.
A moment.
Nanim. Yeah, I believe it was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Jude was quite knowledgeable about Akari, but Akari is I don't know if you know, cousin. Akari was a necromancer of the Giovanni line.
Yes.
Rather famous.
Yes, and Cousin Jude also emphasized that he did not want to expel too much info to get our ally here possibly killed. So that's why in due time I am going to inquire and investigate upon that to see how much I can actually tell you without putting you into danger.
So ST, can I make a roll to see what I know just in terms of a cult of necromancers, whether it be like other necromancers, or is this something that is like super specific to the Hecata?
Sure, make a roll.
Yeah. Okay.
Intelligence and occult will work just fine.
All right. Intelligence and occult. What do I have here?
In regards to this, your difficulty would be 5.
Mm-hmm. And then plus my hunger, right?
You substitute hunger dice for normal
hunger.
dice.
Right.
It would be 2 black, 3 red.
Mm-hmm.
If you had 5.
Mm-hmm. I did just drink a bunch of blood, so.
That is true. I will grant that you were able to. I will say that you were able to quash at least a point of hunger.
Cool. Yeah. No, it's the stress, you guys. She's stressed out.
Quell the beast for the moment.
May I also have a drink, CJ?
Absolutely. He would go into the fridge, retrieve a bottle for her. Upon opening it, you would definitely get the light traces of resonance of grieving, the sorrowful, even the pose of emotional pain.
Okay, so 3 crits, and then the rest are all passes.
So how many dice
like
total?
About 6. So I rolled a total of 7 7 dice.
Okay. And you have 3 crits. That's 5 successes.
5 successes, and then the rest are also passes. So 9. Yes.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Cha-ching.
No.
9.
And
that's 9.
And what color dice were your crits?
The regular.
The black.
The hunger
ones.
dice were 2. Yeah, were 2 6s.
Normal successes. Got you. Yeah, 9 successes. So yeah, you definitely can recall maybe the mention of the name. It is definitely something very, very specific to the Giovanni. You've probably heard the name whispered, passing higher level Tremere's conversations when they speak about the clan of necromancers.
Okay.
You probably put a few things together that this is a very notable and very powerful kindred, whether or not they're still alive or still around. But apparently this book is the Incantus of this person, that this is their personal book of magic, if you were. This is their
grimoire.
kind of a grimoire. Yeah, this is their collection of rituals. Dark, ugly magic.
There is definitely a sense of nervousness that you can see in her now as she's like recalling this information, because you sort of see her kind of her grip on this mug that she drank from. There's something in it, but her grip tightens to the point that you may be like, she might shatter that. And then she says, I think we are in trouble. I've heard the name myself, just roaming the halls of the Chantry. This was this book. His personal book of magics. His rituals. How we acquired it, who's to say? But I don't know what specific ritual
You have
was
gotten
taken,
CJ's attention.
Yes, especially, I don't know which, not yet. I might be able to swindle that information. When I visited the library today, the book was gone. Likely hidden further somewhere within the walls in attempts to protect it. But something was taken from it. Considering what's happening to your cousin, this ability he now has, this is worrisome. I don't know how he acquired those powers. My mind comes up with a few theories, but it's worrisome.
I can't pretend to be any type of expert on the occult, because I'm not. That's not why I was brought into this. I can tell you that he has gotten himself into some shenanigans, and he has his own personal business he handled in order to acquire such things. However, it doesn't really surprise me that the Tremere hold items that belong to other clans or supernaturals, because obviously they are collectors.
Some would say protectors.
It does surprise me that after the events shook over the city a few days ago, that they're not being more inquisitive as to our end towards you, since they know that you've been in contact with us. So obviously they know something of the after effects and expected it.
That is exactly my worry. When I spoke to one of my clan, he seemed concerned, but not as he should have been. This wasn't a regular book off the shelf. This wasn't some collection of works from a newly formed kindred. Something, this is a powerful item. When I described to him the event, he seemed unaffected, other than to say that it was powerful. He was looking to see if anything else was stolen. But the book itself, he seemed to have little concern with, at least that he was willing to show me. And that night, most of them ran. No one protected anything. It was just me and Ruth in there.
Perhaps it's time to push more of an initiative to speak to Mr. Miller, as opposed to waiting on a business end of it.
Yes.
CJ, you're familiar with the game of extortion? There's an itch in the back of your head. There's a voice whispering, what does she really want? Get to it. You know she doesn't cough up this kind of information about nothing for nothing. Everything has a cost, CJ. Come on. What does she really want? Look at her. Them gears turned any faster, there'd be smoke coming out of her head.
Yeah, I think we should definitely make a point to push that meeting up. How do you feel about that, cousin?
I agree. That book is very in the wrong hands. But we may have to leave it there for now.
Oh, I didn't plan on requisitioning anything. However, if it is the word of Jude eventually, we may have to make an excursion. But for now, just, being kind and courteous and concerned neighbors, and it's popping in for a light chat.
How do you think we'd be received, Blanka?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. There apparently has been things that have occurred in the city involving your group specifically. The majority of the Tremere here are into their own things, into their own business. But there are a few there too that claim Camarilla. Hard stance.
I'm sure most of your clan is also still looking at all the events that have happened in Prince William in the last while, of which we are also interested. Maybe we can find some common information.
Yes. In the best way to deal with them. Seeing as I'm technically lower in rank, they don't value me as much as they probably should. I'm not exactly... I don't think that they would view me as a way to vouch for you. However, they are interested in you specifically. Maybe that's how you get them. Offer a little something.
Offer a little something.
It is, CJ. You heard it. There it is. Now get her to put the cards on the table. Get to the fucking point.
Anything else you possibly heard about my cousin here that would stand out to your clanmates specifically?
There's no hiding what the Tremere are. It's not a secret. Like most clans, we're about gaining power. But for us, it's knowledge. She's been alive how long? Before being embraced. Now she has abilities that are useful.
I had abilities that were useful before, which is why I was provided such a long life.
As I said, I am unfortunately lower in rank. They're not going to willingly tell me what exactly they want. I keep an ear out, and so if I hear more, I can tell you more.
You might not be high enough in their personal ranks. However, you are looking at the advocate for the dead, and if there's not something I specialize in, it's hyping up other individuals' valuability. So, by the time we get done with this meeting in there, you will definitely become a person that they will be much more interested in. That much I can assure you.
Are you willing to be that person?
I want to be that person. I discussed this with Carlisle before. My desire for such a position it is to protect what is mine. And in doing so, protect what is yours. There's something valuable here. I want to protect that, and I'm seeing far too many variables that threaten it.
Prince William strikes again.
If I'm in that position, more information is given to me. More information is trusted to me. In that, then we can make something happen. Protect.
I think we have our task at hand in front of us. I have a singular phone number. However, I have reached out to Mr. Miller multiple times. I haven't gotten too much of a response. I have spoken to Candide, the Tremere that we dealt with several weeks ago on a separate matter. Her attempts to have him contact me have failed also. So, if you have any feelers, or if we can just roll up and knock on that front door, I'm open to either way.
ST.
Yes.
Would I have a way to get a hold of Miller? Would I have anything like that despite my rank?
I think every Tremere would have a way to get a hold of the Primogen.
Yeah. No, I just, would I have a knowledge of when the best time, when is he in the best mood?
You know, like
Roll
many
your
other high ranking Tremere, they have their personal assistants who handle things like that. The buffer of communication between those not of their peer or standing. Things always filter up in the upside down funnel that is the Tremere.
Yes.
So yes, you know exactly who you need to talk to get Miller's attention.
Okay.
Could you walk into Miller's office? Sure. Is it a good idea? Probably not.
Definitely not. So I hold a finger up to the group
and
here.
I will give you another intelligence and occult roll while you're doing this.
Okay.
Because like other things in the universe, when we stop thinking about the thing we really want to know, sometimes it comes back around for no good reason.
It really
The horse was blue.
Sometimes.
What the hell did that mean?
Okay, so we have here 4 successes. Ooh, and I get hungrier. Is that yeah? No, I don't get hungrier. But 4 successes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I messed up the number situation here. But yeah.
As you are conversing and talking with Sara and CJ, another thought rolls back to what you've overheard about the Incantus. It was a conversation between a pair of Tremere that were getting ready to ship out to another chantry, discussing things about the enslavement of souls.
Okay. So there's a moment, right, as we're talking, I raise a hand and raise my phone as if I'm about to make a phone call, give me a minute. And then I stop and say, what do you know about enslaving souls?
What would you like to know?
Well, Slant me gets popcorn.
Man, Could you write me a book? Okay, so
You are talking to the clan that deals with that specifically.
yeah, fascinating how much they don't tell you in the chantry. Why it's always good to listen. I overheard two Tremere that went to be shipped out for whatever reason to another chantry, discussing enslavement of souls. But that is really it. I don't know if there are plans. Go ahead.
You may want to know where they went. They may have taken the book with them.
Well, that being said, you remember that they were being shipped out prior to the incident, but one of them, as the memory comes back, you remember seeing that tome in one of their hands. It was being passed back and forth as they discussed things about enslaving souls, about the cost of such things, the damage it does to the psyche, or to certain things just start filtering back as you start rolling it back for more and more detail, as you start peeling back those memory layers.
No, they left before the incident happened, so the book was still there. They had it in their hand at the time, discussing damage that such a practice can do. No, I think
So
the book is still there.
We come around to the question at hand. What would you like to know about enslaving souls?
Well, I suppose in this situation, the question becomes of what interest would Tremere have other than sort of the general gain power? What interest would they have with such a thing? Enslaving souls, willing, possibly, to pay the cost of that when there's a clan across the way that seems to delve in that magic, perhaps without price.
I'm going to tell you a story. Why don't you have a seat?
She gets comfortable.
There,
Holds out her glass for another drink.
Unfortunately, Blanka, I don't have any more of your specific vintage on hand. So if
that's all right,
you would care for something else, the fridge is yours.
So she's gonna shoot a text to Jorge and tell him if he could bring the bag that is under her seat and just leave it by the door. And once he affirms that he's done so, she's gonna go out and get the bag.
So there's almost an immediate response of emojis. One is a big question mark. The other is a package. The next one is what looks like a pair of sticks of dynamite with a little winded clock on it. And then there's a picture of the front door of the hospital, followed by 3 question marks and 3 exclamation marks.
Wait a second. Hold on, that was a lot. Hold on.
Yahtzee.
We're in the lawyer's office. Where the fuck is Jorge?
The lawyer's office happens to be part of the hospital complex.
Oh, okay, that's my bad, because I was like...
Or are you at the other location?
You were in the...
Yeah, we're at the actual law firm.
Okay,
DNR.
that changes the response a little bit. So I will translate if you'd like, because that was literally your driver asking, do you know what it looks like to drop off an unknown package in front of a hospital? It looks like a goddamn bomb.
Yes.
Is this really what you want me to do?
Yes. Virginia is The secretary at the actual law firm.
Right. That's exactly what my response was. What it was. I was like, "Where are you?"
Correction. So what you get in response is a few seconds later, almost as if you're checking your Amazon deliveries, there's a picture of a package in front of the office door on the ground. And me got my popcorn.
Yes, so Blanka, she's fucking 1 second. I'm gonna need a drink. And she runs out, grabs the bag. Can I do a roll to see if I see anything untoward looking?
Sure. Wits and awareness, by all means.
Okay.
Back out, down the halls and out the elevators and through the front door of the building.
What? And I'm sorry, wits and what?
Wits and awareness.
Wits and awareness. What do I have in that? Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay,
Should be
successes.
four dice for you.
Oh.
4 successes? All right.
No, hold on. I'm sorry. I rolled one more than I should have. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so
I will still accept your 4 successes.
Oh, okay.
It's
Then I'll take
okay.
4 successes.
We all make these mistakes. Unless you need to update my copy of your character sheet.
Yeah, no. I in my dice roller rolled one more than I should have. But yeah, so
Excellent. So you
if you'll
come out.
accept 4, then
You take a quick look around. You do notice where he's parked across in the parking lot, and a few aisles down. There's like if it wasn't out before you got there, the street light's out now, and there's a small apple tree there that's giving him pretty much some cover.
Okay.
But other than that, you don't really see anything that catches your eye out of the ordinary.
Okay. And then I'll head back, and in that cup, pour my special drink, and
My purple
and
drink.
I'll begin to just, and
My
I'll
purple.
just, nurse it. I'll just nurse it, and look at Carlisle and say, proceed.
Carlisle would head behind his desk, reaching in for his own special bottle of something that looks quite old, and a glass that's quite similar to this one. He would pour, and he would actually roll up his sleeves and start to tell you a tale of 4 individuals. Let's call them Antonio, Richard, Enzo, and Jacob. Antonio, Richard, and Enzo were part of a gang, young upstarts, who attempted to make a name for themselves years ago. They overheard that back in the 50s and 60s, there were illegal card games known as the executive games. And in these games specifically, they were very high-end rollers, including criminals that played for extremely high dollar amounts. Antonio had the idea that they were going to knock over this executive card game. Upon that, when they were in the middle of holding everybody up with ski masks on to hide themselves, they didn't realize that one of the people at that table was Giovanni. During the robbery, one of the other players ended up being killed because he couldn't shut up. He just kept mouthing off. So, in turn, they got away with over $250,000. Jacob was contacted later on that evening to provide an alibi for his friends. which in turn he did. When he got questioned, he was the ever silver-tongued individual who got away with a perfect alibi for all three of them. Passed with flying colors. Let's fast forward to the early 90s, when, unfortunately for those individuals, for our clan specifically, just because somebody passes away, it doesn't mean they can't be interrogated. So it just so happens that the spirit of the individual who was killed followed the individuals that performed said robbery and was able to identify all of them. It's talents like those, specifically Miss Rosa, that our family has flourished for thousands of years. You have stated earlier you pertain to have a currency with knowledge specifically. Our family, in one facet or another, has their currency with the undead. So a book in question is extremely valuable to anybody that chooses to do business with the other side, and there is a lot of money to be made even though someone has passed on.
Would I have heard, ST, any whispers or rumblings about a need for such a thing? A need for contacting souls or collecting of souls?
The need for communication has certainly been talked about around the Chantry, considering the previous Primogen, whom William Miller is filling in for, Beatrice, went missing some months back and has still not been found. So it goes to make more sense now, looking back on some of these whispered things, darkened corners of, if she's dead, we should be able to talk to her. Because Tremere, as uptight as they can be, are dirty little scamps like the rest of you vampire fangers and love to gossip like everybody else. Especially when the uckety mucks choking ties aren't around.
So, for a moment, Blanka just kind of like, absorbs what was told. And then, takes a very long drink. In fact, finishes her drink. Can I shave off another hunger?
I will allow you to roll a die for that.
Okay. Let's see here.
Success is a success. A failure is a failure.
It's a blank.
That would be a failure.
Wow.
So while you have consumed the blood, it was not enough or not valuable enough to nourish your particular needs.
Okay, well, probably just need more to drink.
Probably so.
So she, there's definitely a kind of like a oh shit expression, to which she then says, now that helps fill in some of the empty holes in the story. Do you, any of you, have seen it's like a new age witchy kind of shop? Recently there was news of the owner going missing. Her
Sarah,
name is
you would...
Aubrey.
She can only be talking about the 3 tea leaves. It ruffles feathers because it's like right across from the Catholic school. It's like you know, between that and a really, really Irish pub. So yeah, it gets talked about plenty.
Yes. That one. Aubrey, the owner. She's gone. There wasn't a robbery. Oh, yes. There wasn't a robbery. There was no signs of fight or, you know, anything to suggest disturbance. It's almost as if she simply left with whatever was on her back. There's nothing missing from the shop. The employees came and worked and still are. They did say it was odd for her to just leave. She's gone on vacation a few times, but never just disappeared without telling anyone. And then there's
special about her?
Not that I know of just yet. I mean, the Tremere are always.
Sara, I'll give you intelligence and occult.
Yeah.
What's her current status over there?
Aubrey?
Yes.
ST, is she
The owner,
still
as far
kind?
as anybody knows. Oh no, she is completely human.
Yeah.
How many successes, Sara?
3.
Oh, no, she's very much human.
So, Sara, you can put 2 and 2 together, and she has definitely been a kind of note, as she's been touted to be some sort of clairvoyant.
But the Tremere are always interested in those who show interest in our line of work.
She's somewhat of a clairvoyant, so maybe
Then that is it.
the interest.
Yes, Tremere are always looking for those who show talent. If she's shown ability, then they would have kept an eye on her. For her to go missing, on top of which, now I don't know how much you would know of this, but see this as a show of faith at our alliance. The former Primogen, Beatrice.
You both probably
She's gone
know
missing
at least who she was.
She has gone missing. It's why Miller is in her place. There's been discussion of trying to find her. With this knowledge now of what that book is, the capabilities that your clan has, perhaps they're trying to find her and speak with her. For what? I don't know yet, but she is missing.
You know how long she's been missing for, because several kindred that were in specific spots in the Camarilla ended up being missing and or terminated since the Spectacular.
Would I know if she was missing before that or after that?
You know enough that she was missing before that event. Yeah. Some
she
months.
was gone before, months before the Spectacular. Vanished. There doesn't seem to be any clue as to how or why. Just gone. Same as Aubrey.
Yes, but people vanish for a multitude of reasons. Like Joe, my cook.
He's
vanished.
gone.
No,
Oh.
he did. He's back.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty
was
sure I
gone.
know why. But he was gone.
Hmm.
So it's very hard to determine from the fact that someone has vanished as to what was the cause or whom, especially in Prince William.
And also, especially because it was someone before any of our substantial time here. So if we are looking to inquire about that, we are going to have to investigate beyond the meeting of the minds here. As much as I enjoy your two ladies' company, as always, we can only get so far here with speculation, rumor, and innuendo.
You're right. Well, there's no other way we're gonna find answers.
Unless we start talking with other individuals. Or snooping around. That's
Both
how
are
that
an
one
option.
goes.
I am going to make that phone call to the sort of assistant kind of, connector to Miller, and request for a meeting. I will say that I have two people of interest that need to be heard out and might be able to offer something of worth to the Tremere. I don't go far. I'm not trying to hide this conversation I'm having. I'm pretty much just turned around towards the doorway and kind of pacing,
So, the person in question's name is Edith Bureau.
Edith.
She catches flack for her last name because it's spelled B-U-R-O-T and pronounced like Bureau. And people tend to just call her Bureau or just be
Bureau.
otherwise asshats.
Of course.
They don't do that in front of anybody important. More likely, probably not to her face either, but yeah. And she's completely aware of it. I mean, she knows it.
Right.
She's a judicious person. She's effective at what she's supposed to do. So she's sometimes abrupt. She's curt, pointed, usually.
Mm-hmm.
And the phone might even ring one time. Yes?
Miss Bureau.
Yes, you are?
It's Blanka. It's Blanka Rosa.
Blanka.
I am calling you to make a request, to perhaps have a meeting set up with Mr. Miller.
For what purpose?
I have two people here of interest to Kindred who may be able to offer something of worth.
Miss Rosa, this conversation will end if you cannot learn how to talk on the phone. Choose your words more carefully. People listen.
Yes, ma'am.
So there are two persons of interest, yes?
Yes, they need to speak to Mr. Miller.
And what is it that gains his interest?
In missing persons, in events recently occurred, stolen property at the Chantry.
I see. Is this the number where I can reach you?
Yes.
Excellent. I will be in touch shortly.
Good. And I will hang up the phone.
Yep. There's no words left. Likewise, there's the click.
Yeah, you see Blanka just look up at the sky fucking you could just see the I am so tired.
And yes, you
I'm
both
so
heard
exhausted.
her bark out Kindred on the phone and got called out for it.
As she was having that conversation, I would speak with Sara quickly and just say, are you okay with having this impromptu meeting knowing that they have a vested interest in you?
Yes, I am. I'm not who I was. If I was still, then I would not.
Well, just know if you have any holdups about it, we can definitely try to schedule this where we have more individuals with us. However, I do trust her, and I motion over to Blanka, and I will be there for you in every capacity I can.
I understand. Thank you.
And then she would finish up her call.
Clearly frustrated, she puts the phone away. I simply await a phone call back.
Okay.
I didn't say who you were or what clan you belonged to. That may bite me in the ass later, but I figure it better to be careful. I don't want doors to shut before you've been able to walk in.
Well, even if it did come up, it was no secret that I was trying to reach out to him. So.
That's right.
And
Sara.
unfortunately, I'm not a secret around Prince William.
Right.
I wish I was.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Are you... will you be able to protect yourself? I mean, I can do what I have to do, you know. But they are interested in you for what I don't know. I don't know.
Strong arm me.
No, that is not the Tremere way.
Ring.
Hello.
Miss Rosa.
It is I.
It's Miss Bureau. Mr. Miller says he will entertain the idea.
Wonderful.
Click.
Yeah. I hang up the phone. I'm like, he'll see you now.
Sounds like a plan then.
That is not what you were told, but that is what we are going to go with. That's what Blanka heard.
Yeah.
I like that.
Blanka said we're making executive choices.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are going to end our scene for the evening. Because what fun will happen when this trio shows up at the chantry door like da-da-da-da-da, members only, come on in. So fantastic tonight, guys. It was a lot of fun. A lot of interesting information came out. And like we do every night when we finish up, we like to go around our table, give our highs, lows, and noms. And let's dig right into it. Sara.
High is getting to know more about CJ and Blanka, and low was it was a little more informational and not a lot of action, but that's okay. And nom is CJ tonight.
Mr. CJ.
It's nice to have plans eventually unfold. I love the aspect of the play-by-post tying into the streams. It just fills so many holes for us, and hopefully in time, you never know, a Patreon that the actual audience can be filled in on such items. But it definitely pays off. It definitely pays off. Low. To be honest, I probably could have gone for another 2 hours because I really don't give a flying fuck.
I could too, technically, but
has a life. Yeah.
I've already gotten a stink eye once tonight.
Yeah. Anam was to Shassidy for finding out more about the inner workings of the Tremere and her tier, as it were, and how she's actually treated up in there. And out of character, it definitely opened up some eyes as to the struggles that she has to go through with specifically.
Would you say that you and Sara both feel a little bit of empathy on that front?
Oh yeah, no.
Blanka's
I get it.
Blanka's kind of ripping open the play-by-play at the chantry for you guys to see that. Oh yeah, fledglings are treated like this fucking everywhere.
Empathy, but on a different tier.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show why the coterie is reaching out for allies, because we know we're the only ones who are not being shit on, so at the very least being together, it helps support each other, even if it isn't going to be in strides of being able to get positions of power or being able to get certain pieces of information or reach certain goals. At the very least, they're not going to be falling.
And I think we need to also revisit in another session or something the thing about where Jude actually tapped coterie resources to do some things, and I slipped on it and didn't respond. And these are the kind of things that we can pull into that resource and people utilize and tap more often. But yeah, I got to remember to bring that in. So Blanka.
Yeah. Okay. So a low. Goodness. I hate this. I always hate this every session. I mean, and it's always the same. I wish we could do this forever. You know, it's so much fun. I love getting to play Blanka. I love getting to play with you guys. And there's always, I find this, I'm always left with so many fucking questions. It drives me fucking
We're doing our
crazy.
job right.
So like there's this feeling of like, can I have at least one question answered in full? Just one.
Oh, now I have answered a couple of your questions. That's not fair.
You have. No, you have. But even in terms of like conversation between kindred, of being like, there's some times where I just want to be like, just fucking tell me, you know what I mean? But I gotta keep my shit together.
No, you don't.
One day Blanka may lose it. So yeah, it's really, the low is that we can't do this forever.
For sure.
And wanting to just always be in it and finding out the fucking what the hell's going on in Prince William, right? The high, I have to say, I really loved this, the way that we all kind of got to know each other, all of our characters got to know each other, and found so many similarities between us. I think it for Blanka feels like I made the right choice. My instinct was correct in trying to form these bonds with these people. And then my nomination is going to have to go to CJ Milliner over here, because the performance of that story was just amazing. And I like the kind of what do you call, let's call them this and this name, and immediately knowing like, oh, that's not at all their names. And that, this thing of like old habits die hard, that even now embraced being in the position he's in, he still won't say who and what.
Are you ready for some out-of-character knowledge?
I am.
Those are their actual names.
Wait!
The only thing that I omitted was last names.
Right, I've been bamboozled.
And
I've been bamboozled.
one of those individuals was myself,
Yes.
Carlisle, and Jacob.
Yeah, I caught that for sure. but I didn't know that the rest of the names are true. I was like, oh my, okay. Well,
I had to
still-
bite my
still
tongue
the
without
nom goes.
stating the obvious as he was doing his little story, and I went, "Oh, you mean Jacob Milliner?
Yeah.
I think I might know
No,
a
I
Jacob
caught it.
Milliner."
There was also a Vincent and an Enzo in there.
Yep.
Yeah, so I caught that and I was like, oh, okay, but yeah, I still that's my nom because the performance
Cool.
of that was great.
Hi, we got to get together in RP. I like that we had a little more intimate group this evening, and we could get a little bit more into the interactions with you guys. That's a lot of fun for me, and the fact that we spitballed that one. Yes, we got it. We got it.
Hell yeah, storyteller.
Hells yeah! I told y'all, give me some ideas, I'll run it. Done. That will take you one ST Boone back. Thank you. No, anyone?
If I had to give.
No. Okay, that's fair. I'm gonna go with CJ for this evening. Good job, sir. I love the story. I love that. I really like the interaction that you guys got to witness between Blanka and some of the chantry. I try and impart the intensity that is living in the chantry or even being involved with it all the time. It's like that.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's judging everyone at every moment of every day because no, this asshole over here is not better than me. Let me tell you about Jack asshole.
Yeah.
They are some catty people up in that chantry.
For sure.
So-
I felt that. I was like, ooh.
Fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the little scenario I got together. I wish, again, like you, I would like more time. I would like to have extended that into you guys like showing up at the chantry. Based on what Blanka heard. I think that would have been a lot of fun. And will be a lot of fun.
Choices.
It will be a lot of fun if we decide to continue that scene at whatever next recording the three of us are all there for, or the four of us. That I would happily record that. That would be fun.
Yes.
So yeah, there you guys have it. Hope you viewers have had fun going on the ride with us. You stick around after the wrap up here. We have a little PSA. Like to keep an ear out and an eye and a heart out for the people around you and the people that you know who may or may not be suffering. How do you know unless you ask? Reach out to someone, say, hey, how you doing? I was thinking about you. You'd be surprised what they'll tell you. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you mañana.
Hello, my name is Trevor Chapman, and I play Rico Suede on Prince William by Night, The Night Shift. I'm here to remind you that your mental health is a very important thing. We all have problems, and I do mean all of us. I personally have suffered from both clinical depression and suicidal ideation. Sometimes it can be hard to share our issues because we don't want to burden other people, or we're too afraid or ashamed of the things we have done or the feelings that we have to even try to reach out to other people. But friends and family are here for a reason. They would much rather hear that something is happening in your life and help you with it than to find out too late that they didn't even know and they couldn't even try. If you feel that you can't talk to your friends or family, there are other resources available for you to talk to. Please take advantage and reach out to them. There is no need for you to go through this alone. We all need help sometimes. There is absolutely no reason to feel ashamed or afraid to ask for assistance, especially if you need it right now. If you or someone you know is in crisis, whether they are considering suicide or not, please call the toll-free lifeline at 800-273-TALK to speak with a trained crisis counselor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline connects you with a crisis center within the Lifeline network that is closest to your location. Your call will be answered by a trained crisis worker who will listen empathetically and without judgment. The crisis worker will work to ensure you feel safe and identify options and information about mental health services in your area. Your call is completely confidential and free. Again, that number is 800 273 8255. If you are unable, unsure, or prefer not to speak in person, text the word NAMI to 741 741 to connect with a trained crisis counselor to receive free 24/7 crisis support via text message. You are not alone. Trained expert advocates are available 24/7 to provide confidential support to anyone experiencing domestic violence or seeking resources or information. Help is available in Spanish as well as other languages. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline toll-free at 800 799 SAFE. Again, that is 800 799 7233. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, help is available. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline toll-free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 800-656-HOPE. Again, that is 800-656-4673. You will be connected with a trained staff member from a sexual assault service provider in your area that offers access to a range of free services. For the Disaster Distress Helpline, call 800-985-5990 or text the word TALK with us to 66746. This helpline provides immediate crisis counseling for people who are experiencing emotional distress due to any natural or human-caused disaster. This multilingual, confidential, and free helpline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Again, call 800-985-5990 or text TALK with us to 66746.